All right, when I think of charcuterie, Capicola is one of my absolute favorites. Unfortunately, it's expensive, and trying to make it at the home level can be difficult because to make proper Capicola, you need to get the copa muscle out of the shoulder of the pig. Not extremely common in your grocery stores, even your butcher shop's not necessarily easy to get. But I found that it's possible to make a reasonably close approximation actually using a pork loin. Yes, it's a lot leaner, but if you get pork loin that has a little bit more of a fat cap on it, and sometimes you get a little bit of marbling throughout, you can make some decent Capicola-ish charcuterie. So that's what we're going to do today. However, unlike the other recipes that I have on the channel, we're going to do one that's a little bit different, one that a good buddy of mine loves. And this one, instead of dry aging it, it winds up with a roasting process in lieu of that. So come along for the ride. All right, now for this here, we're going to start off with some cure number 2. Now, all of the seasonings, spices, and cure that we're using here, I'm going with an equilibrium cure. So we've weighed out the pork loin that we're using, and that came in at 2.469 kilograms. And for all of these, when I give you a percentage, it's simply multiplying that number by the percentage that I give you. So this will work for any weight of meat, which is really nice and versatile for any size of meat that you wind up getting. So we're going with cure number 2 or Prague Powder number 2 or Instacure number 2 or sodium nitrate, whatever brand you find it listed under. And we're going to be adding this, we're curing it because not only will that give us the time for a lot of these seasonings to pack into the meat, but it's going to help avoid that. I mean, when you cook pork, it goes that weird grayish color, and that's not what we're looking for here. We want that nice pink charcuterie look to it. So we're going with some cure. That's 0.25%. Now we have some non-iodized salt. This is kosher salt. We have 3% of that. Then we've got some brown sugar here. We're going for 2% of this dark brown sugar. We have some crushed red pepper flakes or chili flakes here. That is 1%.
No, actually,
0.5. 0.5. We changed our minds at the last minute, right? 0.5%. And it's because that started to look like a lot, so we just went with that. Then we've got our black peppercorns here, and that is 1%. Those peppercorns are going to go in here. Then we have 0.2% coriander seed is going in. We've got 0.2% of fennel seed and 0.2% of anise seed here. Give us a nice little extra flavor. We're going to use my fancy spice grinder. This thing sounds so sad and sick. It's gummed up and unhappy. All right, so we're going to add those into here. Whew, that is fragrant, my friend. Very fragrant. Yeah, no, don't take a massive whiff of that. There goes your olfactory palate for the evening. I'm just going to use my fork here and combine everything. Okay, here we go. We have our pork loin. You can see I didn't bother to trim off any of that fat cap. I'm going to leave it on there because a little fat is going to be nice in the finished product, especially given how lean the rest of that pork loin is. All right, so we've got our spice rub, and I've got the pork in this meat lug here. I find this is a really sweet way to get sort of an initial distribution of some of this cure all over the meat. And then when we go to fire this into the vacuum bag, I'm just going to scoop the rest of it into there. We're going with this equalization method, so the nice thing is we don't need to worry about freshening or trying to pull some of the salt out afterwards. We can cure this for almost as long as we like. The longer that we leave it curing, the more that we're going to get the flavor of these seasonings into the meat. We really would only need probably a couple of weeks to technically cure this. This will be getting at probably closer to a month. And that's just going to allow all of this flavor to get into the meat. So let us grab our bag. All right, so we've got our vacuum bag here, which is really nice because it's going to help prevent stuff leaking out all over the place. You can use that with like Ziploc bags, but I have had issues in the past where some of the liquid kind of manages to leak out. Breathe deeply, my friend. Breathe deeply.
This is making me hungry.
Yeah. Let's just eat a bowl of spices after this. All right. So now I'm going to sort of actually play a little bit of a shake and bake game here. Just so we don't wind up with any like really big single ball of cure there. And perfect. Ready for the vacuum sealer. All right, so I'm going to vacuum seal this here with my food saver. I like this vertical style of food saver. And it's nice and powerful. Gets the job done. There we go. All right, now I told you I didn't want one massive single ball. It's more of like a ribbon of it in there, but that's okay because as the moisture comes out of this meat, it's going to wind up just being like a delightful little juice in there, and we're going to be squeezing it and playing around with it over the next month. I'm just going to use a marker, and I'm going to get the product, the original weight, and the date here on the bag. Woo. And we are now ready to refrigerate. So after 6 weeks, yes, I said 6 weeks, that's definitely more time than this needed to get cured and have that cure penetrate the entire pork loin. However, what that did was allow a lot of time here just for all those herbs and spices and seasonings and everything to penetrate the meat to hopefully result in as flavorful a finished product as possible. So now it is time to get these cleared out of these bags and ready to cook. So let's rip these out of the bags here and take a look. Woo! Oh. Ooh, that's smelling aromatic. Nice. Ditch off the bag. And we'll take these now, we'll get them all nicely rinsed off, get all of this seasoning off so that we can reapply something fresh.
Yep, meat.
Yes, yes, look at this. Beautiful meat, all patted dry here, rinsed off. Now what we're going to do, just because this is pork loin and not an actual copa muscle, we're going to add a little bit of fat to it, which will be in the form of some melted bacon grease because, yes, why not?
Why not?
Why not? I'm just going to brush it on here quickly.
Oh, that doesn't smell terrible.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, it's starting to solidify a little bit. All right, so let's get the herbs there, hey? Now, just in the spirit of even further flavor going on here, we've got this is like a chili pepper garlic thing, right?
Yeah, chili and dried garlic.
Yeah, we'll just be cracking that onto here and it'll be going on nice and fine. Well, ish, right? And then, beautiful. Get some of that on here. Yeah, we figured too big of a chunks might pose potential problems when it comes to slicing later on. And we switch this up for a stainless tub here, with a little bit of parchment in it, and this is how we're going to be roasting it. All right, now we want to get our temperature probe in here. The oven is preheated at 250 degrees. And we've got a water pan in there as well, just to increase the humidity. That's got water and actually a little splash of apple juice, just because it had a little extra kicking around. All right, going with the old meter plus here. We'll just insert to the slightly thicker one. Get that nice and deep past that point that it has to go in. All right, to the oven. There we go. After 1 hour, we've got a little bit of red wine here in the spritz bottle. I'm just going to give it a little spray. Oh, that smells good. So after 1 hour, ooh, it smells so good in here. I'm just going to flip these loins and let them keep going in the oven here. We had the temperature up to 325 degrees here. We did that once we hit 130 Fahrenheit. So now we're just going to give them one last little spin here until we hit our finishing temperature. Get that fat cap back up. Give them another little spritz with some wine. Splut. And after about 2.5 hours total cooking time, we pulled these out. They had 140 degrees. We're going to let them just kind of rest here. They'll probably hit about 145, and then we will chill them down. Whoa, we're on a meat road trip here. So there wasn't room in my fridge last night. So fortunately, somebody was willing to transport it to his place. But we've got this Capicola here. It's chilled overnight. It's rested. It's time to slice into it and see exactly what we're working with.
How can it not be awesome?
Yeah. All right, let's have a little slice into this here. See what we're looking at.
I feel like a kid at Christmas.
Yeah, no kidding, hey?
Oh.
Nice and pink. Awesome. Nice little fat along the top there. Beautiful. Let's see how it tastes. Ooh, on the glorious Avatco slicer here. Well now.
Time to taste.
Cheers. Doink. Now, first off, for pork loin, that retained a lot of moisture, which is really nice. Definitely the trick. So I think spritzing down with that wine, of course, the bacon grease on top, never a bad play. Delicious. Flavors?
A little mild to start,
Yeah.
but you know, as you're enjoying all those herbs come out, the fennel, the star anise, like it,
Yeah.
it tastes like capicola.
Yeah, definitely the chili flakes. And then I think adding that little crumble on top there prior to roasting with the garlic and chili flake mix.
It was more than just fun.
Really nice, really nice. We're getting like a little sort of creeping heat. So it's kind of like a semi, well, I wouldn't call that spicy capicola, but it's heading towards it, which is nice.
Yeah, it lingers. It's there.
Yeah, super delicious. I think that's a win.
Good job.
And so to refrigerate, I just like to take it and get it into a vacuum bag, back in the fridge. It'll last you quite a long time in the refrigerator. You could also freeze it if you needed to keep it longer. And this pork loin capicola is awesome on sandwiches, pizzas, you name it. But either way, if you don't have a curing chamber, and you can't really dry age, but you want to get sort of like this old school traditional capicola that's oven roasted, this is a super sweet option and a great way to take it to 11.